Welcome back to Aero Insight. Today, we're diving into the world of heart-pounding landings and white-knuckle descents. Buckle up as we profile the 5 most challenging airport approaches in the world. These are the airports where pilots need nerves of steel and exceptional skill to land safely. Let's take to the skies. Our journey begins in the remote kingdom of Bhutan. Paro Airport, nestled in the Himalayas, is one of the most challenging airports to land at. Surrounded by peaks as high as 18,000 feet, the airport sits at an elevation of 7,332 feet. Pilots must navigate narrow valleys, make sharp turns, and descend rapidly while avoiding peaks. The margin for error is extremely small. Only a handful of pilots are certified to land here, and flights are restricted to daylight hours under clear weather conditions. Paro Airport is a true test of a pilot's skill and composure. Imagine being in the cockpit with the majestic Himalayan peaks surrounding you. Every decision, every movement of the controls must be precise. The final approach is particularly nerve-wracking. As the plane banks sharply, passengers can often see the mountains seemingly within arm's reach. The descent is rapid, and the runway appears almost out of nowhere. The feeling of relief and accomplishment upon landing is immense. For passengers, it's an unforgettable experience, a story to tell for years to come. For pilots, it's a testament to their training, skill, and courage. Paro Airport is not just a destination, it's a journey, a challenge, and a triumph. So next time you find yourself flying into Paro, appreciate the skill and dedication of the pilots who make it possible. Paro Airport, Bhutan, a true marvel of aviation. The airport's unique location and the surrounding terrain make every landing a breathtaking experience. Pilots undergo rigorous training to master the approach, ensuring the safety and comfort of everyone on board. Paro Airport is a true standout in the world of aviation. Next, we head to the French Alps to the ski resort of Courchevel. The Courchevel Altiport is known for its incredibly short and steep runway. The runway is just 1,762 feet long with a gradient of 18.6%. This makes landing and taking off here akin to an aircraft carrier landing, but in the mountains. To land at Courchevel, pilots must navigate a steep approach path. There's no go-around procedure. Once you're committed, you must land. Here we see a Piper Malibu that landed long and overran the runway. 5 people were injured, one of them seriously. The runway's gradient means you have to touch down precisely at the right spot, or risk running out of runway. The approach to Courchevel is challenging because of the surrounding terrain and the need to maintain a very specific glide path. There's no room for error. The airport is often covered in snow and ice, adding another layer of difficulty. Pilots must be trained specifically for this airport to handle these unique conditions. Our next stop takes us to the Caribbean, to the world-famous Princess Juliana International Airport in St. Martin. This airport is as iconic as it is challenging. The approach to runway 10 requires a descent over Maho Beach, bringing aircraft just a few dozen feet above sunbathers and beach goers. This low-altitude approach is necessitated by the short runway length of 7,546 feet. Pilots must precisely manage their descent rate to avoid overflying the runway or landing short. The proximity to the beach and the ocean winds can make for a bumpy and unpredictable approach. You have to be on top of your game when landing at St. Martin. The visual approach over the beach is stunning, but it can be distracting. You need to maintain a clear focus on the landing. Once on the ground, pilots must quickly deploy reverse thrust and brakes to stop within the relatively short runway, often in hot and humid conditions, which can affect aircraft performance. From the beaches of the Caribbean to the towering peaks of the Himalayas, we arrive at Lukla Airport in Nepal. Known as the gateway to Mount Everest, Lukla is considered one of the most dangerous airports in the world. Lukla Airport is perched at an elevation of 9,334 feet, with a runway that is only 1,729 feet long. But that's not all. The runway has an 11.7% gradient and ends at a cliff. The approach to Lukla requires navigating through a narrow valley and then aligning perfectly with the short sloped runway. There's no room for error. A missed approach is nearly impossible due to the surrounding terrain. Lukla demands absolute precision. You're dealing with unpredictable mountain weather, high altitude, and a runway that gives you no margin for mistakes. It's a true test of a pilot's abilities. Departures are equally challenging. Aircraft must gain enough speed to lift off before the runway ends at a steep drop-off. Lukla Airport is not for the faint-hearted, making it a legend among pilots. Although it closed in 1998, no list of challenging airport approaches would be complete without mentioning Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport. Its infamous checkerboard approach was the ultimate test for pilots. Kai Tak was located in the heart of Hong Kong, surrounded by high-rise buildings and mountains. The approach involved a dramatic right-hand turn at low altitude, guided by a checkerboard marker painted on a hill. Pilots had to execute a visual turn just 2 nautical miles from the runway threshold. This turn required precise handling and timing to avoid the surrounding obstacles and align perfectly with the runway. Here we see a Boeing 747 battling against a strong crosswind and making a firm landing. Kai Tak was a thrill ride every time. The checkerboard approach left no room for error. You had to make that turn perfectly or face the possibility of a go-around, which was equally daunting. The short final approach was often turbulent, adding to the challenge. Despite its closure, the legacy of Kai Tak's approach lives on in the memories of those who flew there. These 5 airports represent the pinnacle of challenging approaches in aviation. They require exceptional skill, precision, and a steady hand. Whether navigating through mountains, over beaches, or making dramatic turns, these airports push pilots to their limits. Thanks for joining us on this high-flying adventure. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more aviation content. Have you flown into any of these airports, or do you know of any other challenging approaches? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, safe travels and happy landings.